All right, folks, we are live. We are back with our good friend Laurie. She's got a
Hi.
new Kickstarter out there, right? So
Mhm.
we are here to kind of talk about that one, and but also see, kind of catch up too, see where you've been at since the last time we were here. So that being said, I'm going to give it over to you. If you're a first time person here, who are you? Where are you from, and what do you do?
Hi, everybody. If you haven't heard of Miss Laurie Calcaterra, you might have been under a rock because I do. You made me big. Oh no,
I did.
because I've been around just for a couple years, but I'm moving and shaking. I'm everywhere. So right now, if you look anywhere, I'm live streaming pretty much every night. But I am the writer creator of a series called Path of the Pale Rider. It's a Western apocalypse series. So we are like Book of Eli, Spaghetti Western, Walking Dead, and Cocaine Bear all mishmashed together. And I know that sounds crazy, but it works for our story. So in Path of the Pale Rider, death is broken. Your body can die, but your soul doesn't leave your body upon death. So if you think about that, you are stuck in it as it decays. And people get forgetful or violent or just vegetative. You know what I mean? It hits everybody differently. So we have this growing population of chaotic people. But on top of that, it's animals and insects and fish. Nothing can transition. We're all stuck here together. So in the story, when we start, we're 10 years into that apocalypse and things have devolved back to the Wild West. And we're following kind of like the last cowboy who gives a damn. He's still looking for the answer. He's a journal full of conspiracy theories, and he's determined to figure out what happened. It's a pretty wild ride. We got, like I said, undead bears and saloon brawls, but then we jump back in time and you get to see the beginning of how everything went down. And I wrote this series in 2018 as a full length movie and broke it up into issues. So it's 12 issues. When you read issue number 3, I apologize. It's going to make you have some PTSD about the pandemic. But just remember, I wrote that prior to. So, good times. It's good times. Issue number 4, we just released January of this year. And so we are Kickstartering for our first ever trade paperback. So it's all 4 issues in one volume plus a whole bunch of bonus material. I think the page count ended up being 148 pages. So got lots of good stuff. All right, take me off the big screen. It's freaking me out.
Okay, I'll take you on the big screen. All right,
Thank you.
there you go. All right, so yeah, so as you guys, as Laura was talking about, this has been a phenomenal story. I've read all of it. I've been waiting, and so the big key with this Kickstarter, though, right, is it's the trade paperback, right, and this is
Yes.
the big thing, like. And I've already ordered the special edition, and you knew I was gonna. That's why you put out stuff like that, because I'm gonna buy it.
Right?
But I'm a nut for anything like that. Like Monty Mora did one like that, for his uncovered book, just recently, and I was like, oh crap, dude, you put I'm like sold. I don't care. I'm gonna buy it. And so when Lori put out, there's like 10 copies of this book, and then you pick your color, and it's like,
These.
uh,
This is what Nate's talking about. So I learned how to bind books. And so I'm making these from scratch. I'm printing them, cutting them, gluing them, stitching them, cutting the book cloth, cutting the chipboard because they're a hardcover. I designed the cover. I, it's heat transfer vinyl, so I iron it on myself. And they have their. I can't wait for you to hold yours. They just have such a good feel to them. You know what I mean? And
yep.
so I did a few, like the black one, the white one, and the red one are claimed, and these ones are a little what I would call rustic. They have like the rough edge. They
Hmm.
weren't cut. I got a new guillotine off of
Ooh.
Amazon. It's a paper guillotine, but I was having some fun on the social media today where I was like,
Mhm.
I got a guillotine delivered from Amazon. You could buy anything off of Amazon these days, right? It's just funny.
That's right.
Um, but yours, I cut the edges and it's beautiful. Like I don't it takes it up a notch. So yours was the blue one, so it has a blue skull, blue binding on the inside, and then the blue pages on the side. So they're all in their final gluing stage. I did yours. There's one for Katie Shaw and one for someone else. There's a purple one, a blue one. And then Katie's was like, she wanted a purple book cloth with a light
Mm-hmm.
green skull. And I was going to do them all in black, but Katie does this book called Dragon Child, which
Mm-hmm.
is super cool. And her logo is a purple background with light green. So
Ah,
I
okay.
get it. You know what I mean? And I happen to have purple book cloth left from when I rebound the Harry Potter books. So I was like, you get what you want because I don't have to order it special. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
already had all the materials. I just had to do it. So I was like, absolutely. So hers looks really, really cool. And it's going to obviously stand out because the rest of them all these nice black, books. You know
Yep.
what I should do before I
Yeah.
send them out? I should line all 10 of them up and put a
Mm-hmm.
design across the 10 of them. So, you know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
together makes a collection. So you're a one piece of the whole.
And
That's
then you know what? That's gonna piss off everybody that owns one because we'd be like, I want to make the whole thing. I want to make the whole thing.
no, you're a part of a very select elite group. That's what it's going to be. So because it's small, because it's a mini, right?
Yeah.
So there's not much room on the spine to put a design. I could just put the letters for Path of the Pale Rider, but like anything that small in a heat transfer vinyl would be pretty difficult to see or
That's
to
all
cut it. The smaller stuff doesn't tend to do well. So you need to have like the bigger patterns, the thicker lines, the
right.
thicker fonts for it to come out right. I learned that the hard way doing the Harry Potter ones, weeding the stupid HTV for hours. I was like, God, there's got to be a better way, right?
Oh man.
So, but that would be fun to like line them up, and it's like it's a secret message when they're all together.
Yeah, and that would be kind of like your elite crew, right? Like you
Yeah,
would be like, all right, what do you have? What do you have? What do you have? And let's like
yeah.
try to figure it out.
That's like the beginning of a science fiction story. You put all the books together and it like opens the gate to hell or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Somebody's got the dark hold in one of their books.
yeah.
You know what
Hmm.
you should do is make it
What?
kind of like where and I've seen this done with books is specialize it on the inside, right? Like make it a one of one, right?
Well,
Make
yeah.
make something different on maybe the cover or something like that, on the inside.
Well, everybody's getting a different skull.
Correct.
Everybody's paper on the inside is different.
Okay, so I haven't seen the inside yet.
So they all have skull paper, but they're
Ah,
all
okay.
different.
They're all different. Okay.
Yeah. So, and everyone is going to have a personalized message from me inside
Sweet.
as well. So
And that's well worth the cost of
they're all
admission those.
unique.
I mean, you think about that too. Like the big people trying to do that, that costs you hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? If
Yeah.
they would even do it. There's a lot of them that don't want to do that kind of stuff. They're like, trade paperback, regular hardcover, we're done. You know.
Right. And I mean, depends on how busy you are and what you want to do, but I'm super crafty. I make a lot of our merch, like our keychains that go out and our secret rewards, our like I 3D printed mini figurines of Big James and
Mhm.
painted those for some backers. I did all of our hats. I don't like doing the shirts because the shirts, if you don't do them right, they start to peel. So
Oh yeah.
I pay someone for that because this you know what I mean? It needs to last a long time. I don't want
Mhm.
people spending a premium on a shirt and then it falls apart. So, and
Yeah,
then
I've
I
had that
usually do
happen
our
where you
hot sauce
buy
too. Go ahead, Nate.
like when somebody buys like a Hayden shirt, right? And then they put the emblem on it, and it's like, and then after about a year, maybe all the stuff's broken, right, on the
Yeah,
side,
it's either
and then
broken or like peeling up at the edges. Cause I did
mhm,
a lot of HTV for Path of the Pale Rider shirts just to make my own prototypes. And after a few, it's been about it's been 2 years. Yeah,
mhm.
they're all falling apart. But the stuff
Wow.
that I got from my shirt lady in Michigan, they're all pristine. They're beautiful. So I'm gonna continue using her because she knows what she's doing. Right.
And
These
that's what
hoodies
we
are not
all.
cheap too. Look, I showed you
Oh
this one.
yeah, look at the Big James.
Yeah, it's big giant Big James, and they're not cheap to make, but they will last forever. I mean, she does such good work on the back too. Like she always. That's my. I disappeared.
You did. I cannot
Come
see you.
on. What the heck, camera? It thinks I'm a green screen. Get it. Dang it.
But the
It has
difference
our
though is
logo
that
on the back. She does a good job. So
I was gonna say is a lot of people don't do the backs, right? There's so many people that just do the front and then they call it a day and that's it. So, I always appreciate when people go the extra mile. Like even with a t-shirt, right? Like if you get a little emblem here, and
Mhm.
that's all you get, for a t-shirt and they
Mhm.
still want $20 for. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna buy that.
Yeah, I do like the whole front, and then we always have the logo on the back too, and it's big. It's a big logo. Because she's like, even my husband was like, "Don't you want the logo smaller?" I was like, "No, I want people to read it." It's
Hmm.
like billboard advertising,
Exactly. Free advertising. That's what we
free
do
advertising.
here.
I want people to read it, so make it big. Thanks.
Exactly. So with the last Kickstarter, how are we looking with that one? Because I know
Still,
things are still like waiting for stuff to come in,
I'm
or
just waiting for the books.
okay.
Um, I use Charter Comics
Mhm,
for publishing my floppies, and they had a printer they were unhappy with that we
mhm.
used on issue 2 and on issue 3, and they switched out, so they have a new printer, but this new printer is new to printing comics. So
Okay.
she's doing a great job. She just wants to take her time and make sure that she does it the right way from the beginning. So it's just taken a little bit longer for that reason, but I know the waiting books went out, so it was waiting first and then Psycho Sal books and then
Yep.
mine. So I
Yep.
talked to McLean this week and he said that the guts have been printed, and I believe the covers have all been printed, and they just have to put them together. And I just feel so bad. Like both Chris Hayes and McLean were really sick after Texoma. Chris was sick at Texoma and still came.
Uh,
He was in bad shape. So, and then of course McLean caught it. So it is what it's hard because we've done everything, you know what I mean? Like as the artistic team where those are done and it's been out of our hands, and it's hard to be patient, and it's just hurry up, let's go, let's hurry up, let's go. But that's not how it works,
it's not.
right? The printers have to do it the right way. And we've heard so many horror stories about other printers who shall remain nameless that stuff shows up and the wrong covers on, or they messed
Just,
up the interiors, or
mm,
everything shows up damaged, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many horror stories. I would rather it be done right the first time, so that way when I get the product, I can just start shipping it instead of having to start over, and wait again, or be bumped at the back of the line. Or like Carissa has so many horror stories
mm,
about them messing up her books, and then she'll have to email them, customer service will fix them, we'll put a rush on it, she waits another 2 weeks, and then half of those books are messed up. You see what I mean?
the
So
that's
it's really hard to find a good printer. I'm really excited about ASAP Imagination printing my trade paperback, because he said the turnaround time on his books are about 15 days.
that's
Now,
pretty
that's
good.
from the UK though, so there's going to be some ship time, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But this will probably be the quickest turnaround time that we have for any of our stuff. So, who knows? Maybe they can print floppies for us too.
Well, and it's hard because like Chris and I was talking about the other day at pastime, right? Like
Mhm.
we had just got our Valhalla Ferryman Origins, right?
Yes.
And you heard about what happened to some of the run on that one. So
Yes.
all the foil covers were jacked,
Yep.
from that whole run. So we were at Cowtown, and it's like, hey, did they come in? No, and they kept, and Chris was like, dude, we're just gonna go print them out somewhere else, and he said, and they'll get here when they get here. And to me, the way I look at it as a customer, right, is like I'm the same way. I want it done right. I don't mind
Mhm.
waiting. I never mind waiting because I know if it's going to get done right, then I'm going to get a good book in the end. And it's not Chris's fault, and people need to understand it. It's like it's not Laurie's fault that the Kickstarter's been done for this long and you're waiting. Hell, Ethereal Comics, right? They've been doing the same thing. They've been having the same problems. They're, is that when you have bad printers and you have issues, it puts everything in behind.
Everything, it's just so
You know,
no.
it's
But I
a
have
domino
everything
effect.
else, man. I'm ready for it to go because I have merch for that one. All of it's here, right?
Mhm.
Everything is ready to go. I'm just waiting on books, and then I'm starting to get merch for the trade paperback. So I just have a ton of merch in my office on the floor, it's just taking over. I'm ready for it to go. You know what I mean?
I
So
bet.
we'll fulfill this one, and then we'll be fulfilling the next one, like, turn around and go, and those will be fulfilling too, and then we'll start hopping on 5. Um, I'm super excited to move forward in the story because again, it's like the trade is kinda like the first act of a movie. You know how when you
Right.
watch movies, first act, second act, third act?
Mhm.
So first act, you get to know the characters, you understand the world, you're building, everything about the world and how things work. So that was my issue 1 and issue 2, showing you the apocalypse and how terrible it is, how, minor decisions have consequences, and then everybody is going to be nice to you.
Yep.
And then issues 3 and 4 was like, this is how it started. This is the complicated world that they're actually in. So you understand like this how the zombies work and why food is, scarce and things have devolved to the Wild West because of the riots and the craziness, right? But we move past that with number 5. Number 5, we catch up in time. I left y'all hanging in issue 2,
Uh-huh.
right? Because you finally get to meet Dwayne Fink. Jude gets in a saloon brawl so he can
Yep.
get thrown into jail with him because he wants to talk to this guy. He's been searching for him for years. Finally finds this dude and the guy's like, "I know how it started, but nobody believes me." And that's when we go into the flashback. But you'll
Yep.
find out in issue 5 what Dwayne knows.
And that was the thing, right? The flash you get thrown into the flashback, right? And you
Yeah.
feel like, and I'm gonna spoil it. I don't care. The book's been out for
Oh,
a
the
while,
books have
right?
been out. Like, yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, like, we'll be careful with number 4, but
yeah,
1, 2, and 3 have been out, so we could talk about those.
yeah. So 4, I will tell everybody is that don't expect it to be in the current time. It's in the past, right? And there's a
Still in the
lot.
past. We
It's
will
still
we
in the
will
past,
start issue 5 in the past, but it gets caught up to the present very, very quickly.
but
Andrew,
but
lemony
I
fresh
will
sun, thank you.
thank you. And I will tell you that the fourth story almost had me crying at the end because of what
Aw.
happened, because it's just you get invested into a character, right? And that's called character development, right? Is
Mhm.
that you get people invested into these characters, and when you see what happened, what caused these characters to be the way they are, and it's like, okay, they're not just, I'm not going to say Rick Grimes as an asshole. It's like, no, there's a reason why they are the way they are because what
Yeah.
they've been through. And so that backstory is a pivotal piece of it. So if you've not read 4, you need to get 4 and read it, as
Mhm.
soon as possible. Because I know that's going to play a big factor into the rest of the storyline as we keep going.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, that was the push out the door. The difference between sitting at home and watching the news or having the riot show up on your porch, you know what I
Correct.
mean? And kinda they were watching in issue 3 how things were developing and, "Oh my god, and look at that, and we'll just have to tighten our belts and we'll make it through," and then it shows up, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then there was no escaping it. They had to deal with it because they had no choice. So issue 4 picks up right from that, and it's like how they're dealing with it, and then, of course, the way that the world works and how complicated it is to be undead, um, that they can just come collect you.
Oh yeah. And my favorite part is you don't know where they took you at
Well,
all.
they tell you, "We're taking you to the undead retirement community,
Yeah, but
but
what?
you can't call them, you can't visit them, we never see them again."
We never
Nobody
see them.
really knows where they go.
Correct. And that would be the thing, right? It's like you think about in real life, right? Like if you put somebody in a retirement home, you can go see them no matter
Yeah.
what. You can't in this situation. So if I'm thinking about it after reading so many zombie books over my lifetime, if you put them into a retirement home, you can't go see them anymore because they done try to kill them. You know,
But they're
there's
already undead. So what are they
exactly.
doing with these people?
So, experimentation, cut
And
them
they're all in
apart.
different states of decay and
Right.
what you want to call it, consciousness.
Yeah.
Because the more you're decayed, you probably don't realize what's going on. But like his family was not that far gone.
No.
And so they knew exactly what was happening and how
Like
scary that would be,
like
you
when that
know,
little girl got taken away from her mother,
in
right?
issue
It's
3.
like
Yeah.
it's like she's fully cognizant. She knows everything that's going on with her because she just turned. And it's
She
like
was she was a little decayed. She was falling apart,
a little
but
bit.
she still like her brain was intact, and that was the
Yeah.
key. So Soylent Green is people. That's kind of the world we're in, where the government is doing things and they're not telling you. Um,
Like in
what
the
did
real
you think
world.
about without spoiling it, the second part of the book when Jude is in the big riot?
I kind of wondered at that point if he was gonna get killed.
I
Uh,
only killed Jude like twice. It's
I
okay.
know I know that, but I was like, to me it reminded me. Remember in Walking Dead, right, when Rick is on top of the dumpster, right, and everything's going after him
It was Glenn, right?
and Glenn, right? It was him and Glenn, and so it's like Rick gets away, but Glenn goes underneath, right? And it's like, and you don't know nothing, right? Like you just think
Right.
that it's over, right? They're gonna die. That's it. And I'm like, holy crap, this is what's gonna happen. And it's like, Jimmy, don't do that to me. Don't kill him yet.
Don't kill him yet, he says. Oh, don't you worry. Don't you worry. Jude's life is constantly in the balance. It's like, will I won't? I don't know. I kill everybody. No, actually, no.
But what's cool though is like if you do kill him off as a character, right? Then that
He can
also
come back
means
as
that
undead.
he's coming back as an undead. And imagine that situation, right? Like he's undead. He's been fighting this stuff for a whole lot. And he's like, now I'm dead. So what do I do about it?
Does
It's like
do you think his position would switch? Because here he is fighting so hard to undo what has been done. Would he then try to prolong his time on the earth as a dead person, or
I think his conscience, and this is the thing, right? We've all, as the story's been going on, these people have the same moral compass that they had
Mhm.
before they were alive or dead. I think at that point, if he was made dead, he would still try to figure out how to help it and try to, figure out how to stop it because he knows it's not right, right? Like he knows, mentally it's not the right position anybody should be put into. Um, and here's the other thing too is like, what about the ones that were already dead in the ground? Like,
They're dead,
why?
dead. They're not
You know,
coming back.
I'd bring them back in a heartbeat.
Mm-mm.
Have a
Nope.
riot of the
Nope.
bones.
There's rules. Because remember, you will find out the answer. You will
Yeah,
find out the answer. And there was an event, something that caused this shift.
correct.
So it was working just fine. And then there was a moment when it stopped working. So
Yeah.
it didn't affect the people that had already transitioned. It was like at one point it broke, and then everybody forward was affected by it. So
And it reminds me of Outbreak every time when I think about it. It's like, where'd the
yeah.
damn monkey go?
Yeah, that stupid monkey.
But
Damn
yeah, I
monkey.
think I think he would still do the same mission even if he was dead, because he would be.
Interesting.
I think he would still try to finish what he started. So,
No
all right,
comment.
I know we try not to spoil things here
Right, right. Well, I can't say like he gets pretty far into the story before things start to happen. So,
because the difference is you've already got the story written out. You already know what's going to
yeah.
happen.
Well,
Um,
I'm like 12 nights 21 issues in.
mhm,
And then so 20 okay, so there are groups of 12. So 12 is for one arc, 12 for the next arc. So I'm like 9 issues into the second arc. But I've been developing the story of how I want the last act to go in that one. I already know where it ends. I already have a twist written. I have this giant battle planned out. It's just leading up to the battle, how I want my characters to prepare themselves to go into that. And then we go into the third arc, which all I have of that is the ending, but
Okay.
I have plans.
We shall see. Well, there is one other thing that you do other than just this storyline. You're actually working
Mhm.
on Psycho Sal as well, right? So I
Yes.
kind of want to go into that a little bit. So as we did with Psycho Sal, right? It does the same thing. It goes from one point of view to another point of view, and the new point of view is kind of interesting because you're writing that portion. So what do you think
Yeah.
about that?
It was when it was brought up to me how he was presenting this book to the readers, I thought it was really interesting that every 3 issues changes point of view, but time is still moving forward. So for people that are unaware, Psycho Sal is a series about a serial killer who was functioning in New Orleans in the 1980s.
Mhm.
And the issues 1, 2, and 3, the story is told from the FBI behavioral analysis point of view. So there's 2 of them that are the main characters, and you're following them, and they're figuring out kind of this guy's like calling cards and his method or non-method,
Mhm.
because he is so difficult to track because he doesn't have a type. There is some
Yep.
reason why he's picking these people, but they haven't figured it out, right? And
Yep.
then at the end of issue 3, which is a rough ride,
Ooh.
mind you, because Chris Hayes wrote it and he writes horror.
Yep.
We switch point of view. So picking up with issue number 4, you meet a young lady who's a college student named Tony, and
Mhm.
she works 2 jobs. She's putting herself through school, and she does something to attract the attention of this serial killer inadvertently, and he starts following her. So at the end of issue 4, he's committed to following her. Issue 5, he torments her psychologically. So you get
Yep.
to see what it looks like when he's courting a new victim, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because we didn't see that. All we were seeing is
No.
the crime scene in 1,
Correct.
2, and 3. You got to see in issue 3 a little bit of like the physical torture that he was doing, um, but not the whole thing. Issue number 6 is probably one of the most horrifying things I've ever written. Um, the character is 100% vulnerable, and to the point where, most of the team are guys. They're all guys, let's be
Yep.
honest. So, like, there's McLean, who's a letterer, William Russell, and then there's the Marcelo, and I'm
Yep.
not sure who the name of the colorist is, but it's Marcelo's team
Mhm.
for that. So we got to the end, and I'm not spoiling, I promise. But they were concerned with the maturity rating of it. And they were like, we need to put, some kind of warning, an explicit warning on the front. And they were concerned about how we were portraying this character. And I was like, if anybody has a problem with it, you send them to me and I will explain it. And there's a
Mhm.
reason why I'm saying that. Once you read it, you'll understand
Yep.
what their concern is. Because as a male team with a female protagonist, they were like, we're gonna get in trouble. And I'm like, no, we're not. I'm the writer, and there's a reason why I chose this. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And as a female, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. So, yeah, it is the first one out of the bunch that has the explicit warning on it. So that'll tell you something of how far I crossed that line. Just like swept it right out the door. Like, goodbye. We're just gonna go across that line. It's a rough issue, but you get to see more from the victim's point of view, how terrifying this character is and how he's not really in like a reality.
No,
It's
he's
something
like
else.
he's out of his head. Like he
Yeah.
really is. Like he I mean, it goes if you remember the Zodiac killer, right, from the
Yes.
1960s and 70s, right? Like this is a person that has no conscience, does not know or does not care what he's doing, right? He has no empathy, no morality about what
Mhm.
he does. He's doing it because he wants to. That's just what he
Mhm.
wants to do. And you can't reason with people like that, you know.
Psycho Sal is something else.
It is.
Um, I know the secret, and obviously I can't say anything,
Of course.
but there's gonna be much more realization of what's going on in issues 7, 8, and 9, which is told from Psycho Sal's point of view.
Yep.
So we're switching again, and William Russell and Chris Hayes and I were debating how we want to handle those issues, and I think Chris Hayes and I are going to co-write them.
Okay.
So he'll be writing from the serial killer's point of view, and I will pick up like some of the victims and but like even the FBI agents were originally his characters, you know?
Correct. Yep.
So but again, there's a lot of the victim mentality that I can put in there. I don't want to spoil too much, but that's I think the plan is that he and I come together and wrap up this kind of opus, you know, this opera, this symphony of
That's, and I
madness.
didn't want to say that out loud to people too much, but they're the plan after 9 is gonna
Nope,
be.
nope, can't talk
I
about it.
I know you're not. I know a little, but I'm not gonna say that.
You
I'm just gonna.
can't.
But I'm just gonna. I will say this, right? It's not over. So
We can
that's
say
all.
nothing. We have been
I
authorized to say nothing.
I will say it's not over, and the reason why I will say it's not over because we love the story. And as fans,
Yeah.
we would want to see it come back after 9, but it's going to be interesting. It really is to see from his point of view because we don't do that from a serial killer perspective too often, right? Like you get that from a Dexter. Like I remember reading,
Yeah, but he's still an anti-hero, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Just
and it's
from
weird. It's like
the
reading the books, the
bad guy.
novels, yeah, and it's like reading from Dexter's perspective on why he kills. He's like, I kill so I don't kill something good. It's like it's still not a good thing. It's still
Still not a good thing, but I mean, like, he's trying to control it and he wants to be normal. He wishes he was, but he's
yeah,
always had this because of what happened, his tragic past.
right.
Sakusa, no desire to be good.
No, there's no
No.
desire to be good. He just wants to kill to kill.
Um, do you remember the movie Seven
I do. Yep.
when they found John Doe's apartment and how effed up it was in there?
Yeah.
That's how I imagine it is inside Psycho Sal's head.
I mean, that's how I think Freddy Krueger's head would be, right? Like the
Yeah,
maniacal, being that he is just he kills to kill. There's no morality. It's all gone, and you can't put it back in either. Like
right.
there's no coming back. I mean, it's like it's like Buffalo Bill, right, from Silence of the Lambs, right? Like you put a dude like that into a situation in the 1980s where everything's free, everything's out there, you can get access to anything and everything that you want. The world's your oyster as a psycho killer at that point.
He was based off of Ed Gein, that
Hmm.
character, and so many have been based off of Ed Gein.
Yep,
Just psycho,
it
right?
was. I mean, look at Texas Chainsaw. It was based upon that.
Ed Gein.
So was Psycho. You
Mhm.
know, people
They're
don't
taking,
realize.
like, one aspect of how messed up he was and making a whole movie about it. It's
And
like but he was all of those things. He made clothing out of people. Um, he was obsessed with his mother. His
yep.
mother told him women were evil, you know what I mean? And just a really unhealthy relationship, and can you imagine? I'm gonna say this on the show. I don't know if y'all know all the things that were at Ed Gein's house, but he had a belt made out of nipples.
Hmm. And then he had the necklace of teeth. You remember that
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the lampshades, all that, the whole 9 yards. Human skin.
Yep. All and it was all real, right? And then
Oh, yeah.
they came and it's funny because like a lot of people don't put those three movies together, right?
Right,
It's
that's what I'm saying. They're slightly different, but it's like, this is all based off of one real person, and
person.
how terrifying is that? That
Yeah.
this person walked
Well,
the earth.
and that's why they kind of compared him to the Zodiac killer, right? Like the way the Zodiac killer did things, there was no rhyme or reason, right? There was no
Right.
rhyme or reason why he did it. But the only thing he did have a calling card, of when he did something. And then guess
They
what?
they never figured that one out, did they?
Nope, they've never
Mhm.
found him, period. They had a lot of ideas on who it was, but they never found it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was the thing. At least Ed, they caught him. you know.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the interesting point. That's horror, right? And as a
Mhm.
genre, is that,
Well,
and we
yeah.
talk about horror is like it's made to not scare you, but to push your mind to the limit of
Well, that
understanding what's around it.
and if good horror is based on real life, like historical, just terrible things that have happened in history. That's all in my book. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like if you look at the terrible things that are happening around Jude St. Clair, it's all based off of history of what we've done to each other in the world and throughout time and things that we're still doing. We have an anonymous phone line in our story where if you think someone is hiding an undead person in their house, you can call the anonymous phone line and they'll send a collector to go search the house. And if they find anybody, they take them out.
yeah,
There's still anonymous phone lines. We're in Texas. You're
yep,
here. We're in Texas. There's anonymous phone lines you can call in Texas to turn in your neighbor for doing lots of things.
yep. You hear something wrong going on next door, knock you
You
yelling
just
and screaming.
call the number and they go take care of it. It's not anything new. It's just pointing a flashlight or well,
Spotlight.
let's say a spotlight, a big light about how ugly we can be to each other, and we have. We have. So I think that when there's some kind of like 1 foot in reality about how people are to each other, like Ed Gein was 1 foot in
Mhm.
reality in all of these, that takes it up a notch to me where it's like it's even more scary because it can happen, you know?
It it could happen. I mean, and that was see there was I'm trying to think of the movie. Um, it had Mark Ruffalo, Hugh Jackman in it. Um, and literally what happened was is the father's kid got stolen, and then he
Oh,
goes on his own to go get his kid back, and he knows, you know what that one is,
wasn't
and
it
it's
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal was in it too, yeah,
Okay.
and it was literally they were trying to find Jake Gyllenhaal was the cop in the
Yeah.
situation, and Jackman was like, "I'm going to find my kid. I know where my kid is." He goes into there, he beats up the living shit out of this kid because he knows his child there somewhere, you know. And then at the end, they didn't find the kid,
Oh,
you know. So it's like those reality pieces. Like if you are a parent or you have children, those will get to you.
I
I
couldn't
don't
even
care.
watch that one. You know what I mean? I'm so protective of my girls. It's just no. It's something that will keep me up at night.
I mean, and that reality piece is what gets you as a person, right? It tells
Yeah.
what kind of person you are as well, right? If you have a moral compass or any kind of consciousness around things like that, you're going to feel that. Like you would think about what would I do in that situation, and I guarantee you, I would have did the same damn thing. I would have figured
I
out where
probably
my
would have
kid.
too. I probably would have not let them live.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have let it down. You know, and that's just real life. That's real life talk. That ain't just comic book talk.
Right?
That's how horrific the world can be. And
Mhm.
so these are just giving glimpses of how people could really be in real life.
Yeah, and, that's the whole I don't know what I wanna say. It's the whole part of my book that makes it interesting is because once I decided death was broken and what that would look like, then I went exploring in this world, like, how would the government react to that? How would we tell each other apart? You know, we would definitely build technology so that, the disc it there's they would wear a disc over their heart, audio and visual clues, so and they would have to wear it all the time so they could just tap it and know right away, whether you're living or not. But I'm like, oh, but we're people. We're going to hack technology,
Oh yeah.
and then it's like, okay, well, then why would we just hack tech? We could probably put makeup and chemical combinations on undead people so they can pass as human for longer. And then what happens when they become the majority? Then it
Well,
doesn't matter anymore what you look like. Then they could do stuff like they can get tattoos on their skull that's exposed because to them that's beautiful.
yep.
You know what I mean? The whole norm shifts. Um, so that's what I really like to do is just kind of put myself in that headspace and walk around, flesh out the world. And I have Jude's story. I also have that choose your own adventure story.
Oh
Nate,
yeah.
Nate, then you've played that. How many
Yep.
times did you die? I'm just curious.
Every time.
Every time. But it's fun, you know what I mean? Like you die and you're like, oh damn it. And then you just try again and see what
Yep.
other things that you can find a big James in there. You can get killed by an undead swarm of bugs. You can eat soup that you don't know what's in it, become
And
undead and keep going. I think I have an undead tiger in there
you
somewhere.
do.
Like you can become a gunslinger. There's good stuff. So it's like you can walk around the world and make decisions that way.
Mhm.
And then we have the riddles. So if you solve the riddle on the back cover of the issue, then you can interact with the world like it's real.
Mhm.
So our third issue, will you put up my Kickstarter? I'll show
Yeah.
people what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Here it is. So on the back cover of every issue, we have these riddles. They're all different. They're all designed by me and my crazy brain. So like this one, if you solve it with the ASL, it triggers something to show up in your mailbox from a character. This one, if you solve it, you find a hidden video on YouTube, on my YouTube, that it's kind of like you come across a video by Anonymous. Everybody familiar with Anonymous with the mask? So we have an undead underground, and they teach the undead people tips and tricks of how to survive in this world. So you don't have to, it's not really a riddle. It's just a QR code scavenger hunt. And then
Yeah.
the rest of them are like, there's a Rickroll, there's the Swedish chef making hot sauce, there's Train to Busan, Walking Dead, Tombstone, He-Man singing Four Non-Blondes. Like it's just ridiculous stuff in there. It's a lot of fun. So this one is not meant to be hard. It's just a blast. And then once you find the right QR code, you get a peek into my brain about the undead underground, right? It's a little creepy, but it's meant to be. And then this one is the riddle for number 4. Have you tried this yet?
Not yet.
Oh, it's a good one. You figure this one out. You get to, I'm not going to say. But there's those with the riddles, and then we also have fan interactive short films. So if you want to see yourself in the world, we can always draw you into the comic. We usually have a tier to be drawn in. But like this video right here, we did a news report. I was news reporter Ellie Brock, and I walked around and I interviewed fans about what they think broke death. And nobody knows at this point what's going on, right? Nobody has any idea if it's a virus or if it's contaminated food or the rapture. And I just let people say whatever they wanted to say. So people were on site, people were sending in, video of themselves on their cell phones. And it was such a fun thought experiment to see what people thought was happening. I'm going to fast forward, but look.
It's that damn sugar.
That's a good question. And a lot of you are going to say the government. I know, in fact, most of you are going to say the government.
I think it's the government.
No comment. Do you want to talk about what you think broke the death process? Sir. What? Sir, do you have a second? I'd like to ask you a question.
Nothing. But like when we get to the end, it starts picking up and like here, I want to show you. Here we go.
Put the phone.
And there you have it. We've spent all day asking people what they think. There's some truly wild accusations out there, and let me say, we really have no idea.
That gets me every time.
It's so much fun. But this one was so great because the fans all came out. Like Pops Van Zandt is there. My editor Rachel is in it. The Zombie Bros are in it. The guys from Charter, like Chris Hayes, is in it. There's just a ton of people that came out.
Undead and what's causing the human form to turn into the undead. And it's not just death. If you think about it, this makes sense.
No comment.
So it was a lot of fun. So that one, people did a lot of talking. After that, if people were uncomfortable talking, I opened up the option where they could send in like a still frame picture, like a selfie. So in this one, the third one, people were sending me pictures of themselves being dead bodies. I'm not gonna spoil this one. You have to go watch it. But like, there's a ton of fans that are they're just dead. Yeah.
Yep. He literally did the zombie walk.
He's
With his
he was
arms.
trying. He's so funny. That actor is so great. I had those two guys both. So the long and short of this one is there's a lady hosting a dinner party. Something is happening on the news, and she's too busy cooking to pay attention. And people start canceling on the party, and they're asking her, like, "Are you watching what's going on?" And she's like, "Sure, whatever. I don't care. Like, you keep canceling I'm cooking for 12 people. What do you want from me?" Right. And then something takes over the airways, both on her TV, her iPad, her phone. And that's everybody else. They kind of have snippets of all these other people just like watching TV, painting their nails with the, computer playing, and it takes over everything. Right. And then stuff starts to happen. That was kind of the call to action. The undead start fighting back. So what does that mean? You know what I mean? So, but this one was a lot of fun. And of course, at the very end,
Night of Living Dead.
yeah, because of course,
Cute.
they
Yep.
don't actually die. They're on the ground and then they'll all get back up. So I'm working on the fourth one right now. I have actors, so I don't have to do all the acting myself, which is great. But it takes a little longer when you're dealing with everybody's schedule and kids and extras and vehicles and drones and all of that, lighting, blah, blah, blah. So that one's in production. I'm hoping to finish it this month. I actually have a viewing scheduled in London in a
Holy
cinema
crap.
for the short film. So I'm very excited for that. So I need to hurry up and get it done. I only got 2 outdoor scenes, and then I have the finale to shoot, which is it's going to be a rough one, but we'll get it done. If you want to see me do some slice and dice, that's there too. So we do some shenanigans. You can see me talk to myself, which is funny. But
and then and then my favorite one is when you're talking to the zombie, and literally her eyeball falls out.
Oh, I'll show that too. So this is my welcome video from last campaign where usually you get a creator come on. They're like, "Hi, I'm Laurie Calcaterra. I'm the writer creator of Path of the Pale Rider. Let me tell you about our book," right? And they start telling you about it. And then, of course,
we really have no idea.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laurie Calcaterra. I am the writer-creator of the all-new Western Apocalypse comic book series, Path of the Pale Rider. Starts normal. What's this? Really? Apparently, I'm going to be joined by recently deceased news reporter Ellie Brock from WDED Channel 13. Why? Like, who made the decision? Here she is. She's on an undead board. Ellie, how are you? But yeah, so I tried to deliver, the goods on Path of the Pale Rider.
10 years
interrupting
into the apocalypse, he meets Big James. Consequences. Issue 2, Jude St. Clair goes to the town of Santa Claus looking for information, and he picks a fight and consequences. Please stop doing that.
It's like, stop. Eventually, she keeps rubbing her eyeball. Where are we? Here we go.
Gibson and me. No, you didn't make a cover. No, the last cover is a sketch cover so that people can get their own original Big James from their favorite artist. I just wanted to feel. Oh dear God.
Let's watch that again. Wait, here we go.
Feel.
Oh
dear God. Path of the Pale Rider is a
Anyway, so I had lots of fun shooting this, and we chuckle about it, and my fandom screams chicken nuggets at each other now, and
Amen.
consequences. Wait, so here it is.
Say chicken nuggets.
That's what they say to each other.
We have a
In
good
fact-
time.
Huh?
We have a good time joking about that one.
Yeah, I'm probably going to find some chicken nugget related merchandise at some point.
Well, Lacey does that, remember? So,
Oh, who do you think is going to make it for me?
oh, I know she would. In a
She already
heartbeat.
did an undead. No, she did a big James Care Bear for me at Texoma, and I'm gonna make some stickers. So we'll have those going out in this campaign for the trade paperback, which will be awesome. So we got some cool merch. You've seen all the merch, right?
I've got a lot of it. I'm always, and don't forget, you got to show them the hot sauce.
I will. Yeah. So reward wise, we have, of course, we have a PDF, which is great because you can just binge read this, sit down on your phone, take it with you, on your iPad, and you can just read it as soon as we get funded. This is going out because it's already done. The books are already completed. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
there is no wait on this. As soon as it's just fulfill the digital immediately. We'll still have to order the books, of course. But like I've been told, they've been pretty quick turnaround. Of course, we have the trade paperback for $25. This is a perfect bound book with the soft cover. Beautiful cover by Marco DeFeo. Here it is. I love this. And we spent a lot of time talking about what we wanted this to look like because there's going to be a trade for 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's going to be a trade for 9, 10, 11, 12. And then if we follow the same pattern, we'll continue that for the next arc. So there'll be 3 trades in the next arc and 3 trades in the final arc with maybe a volume of 12 in addition. You know what I mean? We could produce a volume of 12
like
for
a
each
hardcover, kind
arc.
of like.
Yeah. That I'm looking forward to stuff like that. But so the whole point of this was it's changeable, it's adjustable. So on this one, it's very important that we have our iconic symbolism. So we have Jude St. Clair in the Western gear with his disc on. In the background is the disc, and it has the living line that becomes the path that Jude St. Clair is walking. So he's walking the path of the living, right? And of course, Path of the Pale Rider with Big James roaring in the background is just iconic. So for the next trade, we're going to switch out Jude St. Clair to probably an undead character, change that living line to a nice red line because someone's walking the dead path. And then, I don't know, we might keep the Big James. We might change it out to another terrible beastie that I have planned.
we did an undead lion.
It's the Midwest, it's like the West United States. So there's
but we got
other things coming. Trust me. There is something iconic that happens in the next 4 issues, but I can't say. It's issue number 7. So that's probably what's going to be in the title, but you'll just have to get there to find out, Nathan.
And the reason why I say lion is how many zoos do we have in the U.S., right? And like a lion is going to be predatory and eat something wrong. Because, if they eat something undead by accident, well, guess what? You are what you eat.
Good point. So there is that, of course, for the trade. We have a Lola pinup. Now, it's funny to me that I made a lot of the goals, a lot of pledges, let me say it that way. A lot of the pledges are also available as add-ons. So what I found people did from the jump is that they went and got the exclusive things, and then they were adding on like the hot sauce, the pinups, the buttons. So even though they're like, there's only one person here, there's like 12 of these that are ordered. You know what I mean? Because people are just adding them on the back end. So that was interesting. I was like, oh, you can get just, no, I'm like, there's only one person. Oh, that's right. No, everybody else has just added them on.
Yep. And especially issue 1, right? Like I added issue 1
in
on
color.
In color because the original was in black and white, and I have an
Right.
original that's in black and white.
Once the black and white, once I sell out of my current inventory, we're no longer printing it. So it's a limited edition. Once trade paperback is out and it's in color and out, there's no more black and white. I might actually hold on to like 25 of them for a few years and just put them on a shelf. Bring them
I
out.
would maybe once you've got through like the third trade paperback, or like we've got
Yeah.
so many issues. Like, oh, by the way, we still have the original here.
Yeah.
We can do it for this price at the convention.
Or we can release a few of them every campaign, something like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? Something like that. But I'll sit on them for a while, so they become more exclusive, which is cool. So yeah, trade in pinup. This is $28. It only costs you a few dollars more to get this. You get the trade paperback, the PDF, and I don't know if you can see the little picture here, but I'm going to sign these Lola and kiss them with lipstick.
Yeah.
Fun. So we have the button pack. Again, there's like a ton of these that are added on as add-ons, but there's nobody in this pack. But they're $6. So the trade plus the buttons is $31. These are super cool, and they're made by one of the fans of Path of the Pale Rider. And I'm ordering like 100 of these so that I can have them at Comic-Cons and stuff too. So the hot sauce that Nathan is a fan of
Oh
is
yes.
Path of the Pale sauce. I make this hot sauce myself. And of course it has Path of the Pale sauce has a logo with Big James on it because why not? So we originally ran this in our 3rd issue campaign, and it was such a hit, and a bunch of people got it. But at this point, everybody's running out. So back by popular demand, you can get a refill of your hot sauce. I'm gonna find a different solution. These custom 3D printed bottle holders are take a long time to print. So I'm gonna find another solution, but I like putting them in something when I ship them so that there's a little more protection because obviously it's a glass bottle, but we'll figure that out. I'll probably custom 3D print something and then, support it with something else. But I like 3D
know.
stuff.
I know Rick does that too because he does the seasoning.
Yeah, he does like a rib rub, which
Mhm.
is good. I've had some of that. I tabled next to Rick at Cowtown last year, and he and I had a blast. I was just taking the Mickey out of him. He was like, "This is my first Comic-Con." I'm like, "Whatever, you lie."
Mhm.
He kept
It-
coming over to my table. I was like, "Go back to your table.
Stay at your table. I would
Stay at your own table."
because I'm like, hey, come see Rick's book. Come see Orphan Bloodline. Come see Laurie's book.
Yeah. We have these beautiful t-shirts, and again, I have the prototype hoodie, which is what started all this. And they're nice and thick and beautiful. Like I said, my lady does really good work. So these are well worth it. So it's a trade in a t-shirt. There's a trade in the hoodie. It's the same design, just whether you want the t-shirt or the hoodie this time around. Because I usually run 2 designs, one on a black shirt, one on a white shirt. But this time it's the same design. It's such a nice design though. It's just
I
now, do
like
you
it.
want it in a t-shirt or a hoodie? Right?
I like the yellow.
Yeah, it pops, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really does. The Las Vegas glass. These are super cool. So in issue number 1, Jude St. Clair is on this dilapidated road. He finds a zombie hand sticking out holding a glass. And of course, this thing is still moving. So he has to wrench it out of his hand. It goes flying up into the air and he dives to catch it. He almost goes off this cliff, risking his life for this stupid glass. And he looks at it and it has the map of Las Vegas on it. And it's like, what does it mean? What does it mean, Laurie? Why would you take the time to show us this glass? Well, of course it has a meaning to it.
Yep.
You just have to find out. But I found the physical glasses. So I used this as just a reference picture for Marco. But we can order them. So we are.
Oh yeah.
These are also available as an add-on. So again, there's nobody here, but everybody's freaking adding these onto the back end. There's like 6 of these ordered. I want to set for myself. These are the only thing that I'm concerned might be late. They go out of stock quite a bit. So if you do get these, there might be a delay. I will order them these ones are a little more expensive. So I'll order these as soon as the campaign ends and I get the funds. And then they'll get to me as soon as possible and I'll ship everything together in one box. So, but they are glass. They'll come in extra packaging. No, I want to move this one. All right. The plushie. We got one left there.
Oh.
Isn't he cute?
He is.
All the kids want them, which is so funny. So plush and a Big James. Not a plush. My brain is so tired.
Hello.
My
Hello.
trade paperback and the plushie together. So these came out super nice. My kids all want one. I told them they had to wait until after the Kickstarter. If there was any left, they can fight over them. But of course, this is Carissa Grant's fault. So if you're familiar with Carissa Grant, she always has the plushie on her campaign. And she's been asking me to, because she got one, of course, but she was like, I want a Big James plushie. I was like, I don't want to do plushies. That's your thing. And she was like, you're going to do it eventually because I'm going to keep harassing you until you do because I want my freaking Big James plushie. And I'm like, okay. All right.
It is funny when you think about that. What, maybe a year and a half ago, we were harassing her to get stuff done, like come to conventions and things. You're like,
yeah.
And now she's just
to come on
adamant about
podcasts, right?
Yep. And she's like, I don't know. Like when I first asked her, I'm like, do you want to come talk about your book? I'm like, all right, we're gonna go talk to you about your book.
And now she's like, she blows me away. She does so many shows. And I always use her as an example when people are like, how do I go find podcasts? And I'm like, all you got to do is go to YouTube and search Carissa Grant or Worthy Chaos. And all these podcasts will come up. I was like, take your pick, do your research and then contact them the best way you can. But she's already done all the research for you. Just go look for Carissa Grant and it'll make you a nice cohesive list.
Oh, yes. And you will have videos to watch for days.
Yeah. And then, of course, here is the mini trade. I'm going the wrong way. These are the handmade books.
Yep.
So again, these are 100% customized to you. I change out the color of the skull, the binding on the interior. So these are sewn, not glued. Well, they're sewn and then glued. But you know how there's just the glue binding. The perfect bound books are just glue. These are thread bound and then glued. And then I cut the chipboard, I measure all the things, cut the book cloth, and iron on the HTV myself. I design the covers too. So 100% handmade with a personalized message from yours truly. I'm only doing 10 of these, maybe 11, because I like Charles Boyer.
Okay.
And if he gets the retail package, he can have one. So but yeah, so these are limited. I'm having a ton of fun and I got some new equipment today. So I'm ready to make a bunch of books. And I'm like, all right, who wants me to make theirs? I'm like, because I want to. Next thing I want to do is take all my floppies and take them apart, take the covers off, unstaple them, and bind those into a hardcover myself. And then I want to unbind the trade paperback when that comes and bind that too. So I just want to bind all the things now. Like I want to do all the things. I want to make all the books. I'm a little hyper.
Which is funny because I used to have bound comics like that, right? I used to have a Spider-Man run like that. And like literally from like 300 to like 600, it was all bound into a book. Cool. And everybody looked at me and they're like, do you know how much those comics were worth? Yeah, they probably were worth a lot, but you know what? I can read them easily now in a bigger book.
But then it becomes a one of a kind.
Exactly.
So there's one of these left as well. So if you're interested in the trade paperback and then the mini trade, there's only one left. You can get some custom art by Marco DeFio. He'll do a custom piece, black and white. Majority of this money goes directly to Marco for that piece of art. You still get the trade paperback and the PDF, but then you also get an additional piece of art. The ultimate package. It's one of everything. Yeah, we threw in the kitchen sink on this one. So again, it's everything we talked about. It's a t-shirt level, but if you want a hoodie, just talk to me. We can make that happen. But it has the pin up, the buttons, the plushie, the hot sauce, the glass, the book, right? It has the trade and the PDF. It has everything. There's 3 of these left. I would love for more of these to go because the merch is super cool. But really, I can help you customize whatever package you want. So whatever you're looking for, if I don't have it here in the campaign, you just let me know and I can make it happen. Of course, I have that retail tier. I open that for Charles Boyer. A lot of times he comes in and he grabs that when he's ready. I only have one spot for an ad in the book, so I only can offer one of these. But if you're a retailer and you want books, I can make that happen too. You just need to tell me how many, and I'll get you a wholesale price, not a retail, wholesale. Because I understand that you got to mark them up to put them on your shelf. So,
Correct.
stretch goals. Add-ons. I have everything here as an add-on. Of course, the Choose Your Own Adventure is there. The poker cards, the previous poker
Right.
cards are available. So if you're just finding us now and figure out that we're building a poker deck, you can add those on. And then I added the 3D mini Big Jameses. So those are available as well. Here's the cards we have unlocked. It's actually a little bit, I think I put the wrong picture for the King of Hearts. He matches everybody else, like with the heartbeat through the heart. This one is the
Okay.
wrong thing. I was like, dang it. But these are the ones that have been printed. And this is the new card. We unlocked this at 50 backers yesterday. And so we're getting a Joker, which is, of course, he's Dwayne Fink. Who else
It's
would
got
it?
to be Dwayne.
Right. And then we'll continue unlocking cards every 50 backers. This is something I do every single campaign. So we will eventually finish this deck of cards. The more backers on board, the sooner we unlock things. Man, we were at 140 backers last campaign.
I
We were so
know.
close to unlocking another card. I was like, man, we're just not quite going to make it. But we were close. So
We did this time.
I just updated this before the show. So the PDF bundle, which we unlocked at 2,500, the first one we unlocked was the Any One World bundle, and I'm doing this differently for a reason. Like last few campaigns, I just put them all together, so it was like 20 PDFs all in one bundle. But what I'm doing this time is I'm breaking it up. So like we first unlocked the Any One World bundle. There's 5 comics in there, and I'm listing the website, and I have a link. So if you wanted to go check out more about these titles, it will always be preserved on the Kickstarter page. So if you get the bundle later and you read it and you really like Russ 5377, and you're like, man, I really want to read more of that, you can always come here, click this link, and it'll take you over to the website where that one is available. So that was my intent. You know what I mean? Because when you get a bundle of 20, you're just like, I have no idea what the heck is it's just a big conglomeration of extra comics, which is cool. But if you want to know more and you want to read more, it's like, where do you go?
Well, that's how I read Roadkill Rampage, right? When Carissa had it in one of her bundles. And I was like, I like that one.
It's really good, right?
Let me go see. Holy crap, my buddy Adam Fields is on that book. Yeah. It's like, okay. Something new to read.
So at 3,000, we unlocked the 3D printed wooden keychain, and we also unlocked the Charter Comics bundle of PDFs. So there's 4 on there. Of course, it's Worthy Chaos, and Mother's Whisper, Psycho Sal #1 for the first time. I have that in the bundle, and Orphan Bloodline. And of course, there is a link where people can go look at chartercomics.com and see more of what they offer as well. I don't have the Ferryman listed in there. Chris Hayes was like, pick one of my titles. And I was like, man, I only get to pick one. Fine. I'll pick a Mother's Whisper. That one is so warped. It's great.
It is.
So,
and it's actually hard to find too. The actual physical book. It's hard to see it sometimes.
Yeah.
Because everybody's read Ferryman's Tales.
Right. That's one of his older ones, his older titles. So that's been around for a while. This one only just came out last year. So that's why I was like, ooh, I really want to put that on there. It has such a great twisted ending that people won't see coming, where I was just like, this one's great. This one's, typical Chris Hayes, messed up, will mess you up in the head. So I was like, I need that one on there. So we're working towards the sliced and dice, and of course another poker card, and then when we get to 100. But I also have temporary tattoos, packets of hot sauce, enamel pins. I'm gonna have those Big James Care Bear stickers, all of that. So there's potential for us to break a ton of stretch goals on these. So I'm really looking forward to see where we go. It was really cool to break to hit goal in 2 hours and 15 minutes. This campaign, because our goal is so low compared to what we normally are. We normally run 4,550 because we're producing art. right? It takes me $4,000 to produce a comic book in art.
Yeah,
So I was like, ooh, I don't have to collect that. 2,000.
exactly. Because that's the thing is like those art tiers get expensive, right? Especially if you're
Yeah.
offering the original art. Like, and
Yeah.
there's some people like I'm an art guy, you know that. I collect everything like that. But the thing is like when you're talking $500, $1,000, right? Like, and you as a creator having to go pay for that first, so you can offer it. Okay, that's
Yeah.
money out of your pocket just so somebody could buy it. And so
Well,
that's
and I'm not even referring to that. I'm just talking about our production for the issue. Between Marco's
oh
page
yeah,
rate and Matt's page rate, I pay, over $4,000 to get one issue done. And that's not even printing it.
mm,
So, you know what I mean? That's up front. I gotta pay them and so that they even work and do it. So the Kickstarter always pays for that first. And then of course the merchandise, the fees, the credit card, the Kickstarter fees, and then of course the shipping and the printing. The printing is the next biggest cost after art production.
it
So
is. Because I mean, printing's not cheap. I mean, it's
no, it's
getting it,
not.
it's sending it to the printer, getting it printed, and then getting it shipped to you, right? Like, and
Yeah.
depending on what you have, you might have a freight load, and that freight
Yeah.
load is always fun to get too, because that cost of the shipping.
My husband's like, books are here. Just all over the front porch. I'm like, coming. I'm coming.
And then you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
I gotta drag them all in, open all the boxes, sort them all. But it's like that's Christmas morning to me, I'm always excited to get a new shipment of books. It's like your birthday and Christmas all in one. So
And that's
McLean
how you,
McGuire, I want to shout out to McLean McGuire. Thank you so much for, formatting my books and for dealing with the printer. And I apologize. I always am so apologetic that I harass the hell out of that man when I'm waiting for my books.
that poor guy.
Like three times a week, I'm like, McLean. And he's just like, oh, here's Laurie. But I try to be nice and I send him like funny memes to make him feel better. I'm like, it's me again, checking in on my books. So I'm gonna send him Jim Carrey with his like nose taped to his forehead. I'm like, it's me. Here I am. He's just like, okay, here's your update. I'm like, all right, I'll check in later.
It's
Send
like
him
every
another meme.
morning, right? McLean does his picture,
His
every
coffee.
morning, his coffee picture every morning. And everybody's like, I see that. I'm like, dude, that's just great to see every morning. It's like you're
Mhm.
so excited for every day. I'm like, there's days I'm like, I don't want to get up.
It's like one of those fake it till you make it, but I think he has such inspirational things to say. And
hmm
I'm just like, oh, yeah, I gotta get moving. Like, what have I been doing all morning? Like, get to work.
Right.
He's just like, be the best version of you every day. Have an intention for your time, get busy and get things done. And the charter team is just so positive and so supportive, and they're generally funny people and fun to be around. I always have a great time with them. And then, of course, the ASAP Imagination team is just as wonderful. They're just farther away. They're in Canada and they're in the UK. And same thing, like super creative, think outside the box, growing leaps and bounds. They have some major plans set for this year. And I'm looking forward to seeing how everybody develops. That's part of the fun of being an indie is when you're new and you don't know anybody and you grow, but you're also seeing other people grow and develop as well. And you're all here to support each other. Um, that's the fun of it. That's the fun part, being in the trench together.
And that's what's fun for me, right? Is like because I'm doing editing and things for other people now.
Oh,
Is
you were
seeing, yes, just a little
a
bit.
little bit.
Just a little bit. But it's to see the growth of an artist, to see the growth of a writer over years and years and years and years. Like Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee did not get to where they are just overnight, right? This was
Yeah.
like 30 years in the making for some of these guys.
Yeah.
The same way in the independent scene, like, right? Like Wills Protasio, Mark Silvestri, those guys who are big up there now too. Like I remember reading their stuff and it was garbage, like complete garbage,
Right.
back in the early 90s. And and they're like, but they've grown so much, and it's because of the time. In the indie scene, it's the same way, right? Like if it's Charter,
Yeah.
if it's Ethereal, if it's Coffin, whoever the independent is, like you see those growth and you're happy for them. And that's why
Mhm.
like I love pushing you and Carissa and everybody in Charter because you guys are family. We've all known each other for a
Mhm.
while, you know. So it's like I love to see like when I read it a kid. It's always what are we going to talk about this time, you know?
Yeah.
um,
And Ed Pastime is always like, "Where have you been? How come you don't come visit us?" And I'm like, "It takes me an hour to drive here, dude."
no excuse.
No excuses, right?
No excuses
No
because
excuses. Come visit us more. And I was like, man,
Ed got on to me for that. He's like,
like, where are my
when you come.
books? My books show up, I'll be here.
I
Just
remember I walked in the
teasing.
Pastime and Lacey's there, and literally Lacey had just mailed me a book. I got the Psycho Sal original art one from her, that half and half that she
Yeah.
did, and literally she mailed it, and it still hadn't showed up to my house. But then she drove down, and she was at Pastime. She's like, Nate, I would have just brought you your book with me if
Yeah,
I
if I
knew
would
you.
have known. Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, I didn't know I was going that week. It was, you know how it is, one of those you just go kind
Yeah.
of thing. And she's like, and I'm like, and it's been sitting in the mail for like 2 weeks. It got lost at one point, and I'm like,
No.
crap, where's it at? You know, and so but it finally showed up, and I
It
was
went on
like,
an adventure.
it sure did. And this is right after Christmas, so that you know how that the
Oh,
mail is.
yeah.
But it was funny because I walked there. Ed said, "Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?" I'm sorry, it's been a while. And then Chris and everybody was there. I'm like, and that's what it is. You walk in the Pastime, you see everybody, and it's great to hang out with you all.
It's like
So
family.
it
Yeah, I mean,
is.
like we watch stupid B movies on their on their big
We were
screen in the store. The last one we were watching was about 2 giant snakes that were eating people in the jungle, and we were just having a laugh. Such a B movie, and we were like, "What is going on?"
we were watching Backyard Wrestling last time.
They're like, "It's so funny," and I'm like, "I can't watch this. It's so
It's
terrible."
I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go look for a book, And I'm like, but
So
this is it's
bad.
just, but it cultivates you, and you're like, oh, I gotta watch. I gotta see what happens, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's always a great time with them. And that's why I enjoy being with you guys. I'll be actually working a booth this year at Cowtown. So
Woohoo!
yay, I
The
got hired.
pastime booth?
No, I'm actually gonna be working the Ethereal Comics booth this year.
Really?
Uh-huh. I kind of
Fancy.
well, I talked them into coming this year. So I'm like,
That's
y'all gotta come. Because I'm
and they're
like,
like, "Okay, we'll come if you help us." And you're like,
exactly.
"Dang
And
it."
so what did I do? I filled out the vendor registration form. I filled out everything, turned all of it into Chris and the Kim, and then we got to pay. And I'm like, all right, let's get you guys here. Because it's an indie comic convention. Really, it is. It's for everybody. I'm like, but we have all kinds of artists and writers and everybody that's there. So it's like, why not? Come out, have fun.
Yeah.
It just expands it around for everybody. And it's going to be a bigger venue this year, too. So,
It's a new place. That's exciting.
yeah. So I'm like, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see how it looks this year.
That's awesome. I request to be next to Lacey Kruger and David Sanchez. I'm just saying.
I know both of them.
I know I was supposed to be next to David last year, and I got put next to Rick Derry, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I was like,
Oh
"Well,
yeah.
we had a blast," but I was just like, "This is not what I signed up for."
And then you see Ken's big, like
This big
Stacy
ass
area.
booth, yeah, with
And
all his stuff. Ken's
I'm like,
Ken's like the best. He's the best people. You know what I mean? This amazing thing happened. So I have a website with the shop on it, and it messes up the inventory. I don't know if I copied it wrong or something, but I've been sold out of the Ken Salinas cover for a long time for issue number 2, just because it was so popular. He got some comps, but I haven't had it in my stock for forever, right?
yeah.
But on my website, it was available. So I had someone go on and order issues 1, 2, 3, and the Choose Your Own Adventure book. So as I'm putting the order together, I was like, "Ah, crap." Of course they ordered that because it's gorgeous. And then I was like,
Exactly.
I don't have any. But that was on the Friday before Texoma. And then, of
Okay.
course, he was going to be there. So I was like, hold on. Because I emailed him. I was like, I'm so sorry. My website messed up my inventory. Like, I don't have any of these. Here's the other ones you can pick from. Just let me
Yeah.
know which one you want. I'll send you a 4x6 print of Ken Salinas's cover for free, and, I apologize. But I went to the con and I was like, Ken. He was like, yes. And I was like, you got any of those Path of the Pale Rider covers left? And he was like, yeah, I got like 2 left. And I was like, can I buy one from you? He just gave it to me. He was like, here's this one. Oh, and I have a remark of a panda bear on it. And I was like, what? So my customers got the Ken Salinas cover they wanted with a remark, and it's an issue. It's a first print.
Ah, that's awesome.
So I was like, you guys, I'm like, I'm so excited for you because you're getting, not only what you want, but he drew on it. He didn't charge anything for the remark, and it's a first print. And they were just like, that's freaking awesome. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So he's the best. And he's
He
just
is.
he's like, you got hot sauce? And I'm like, take all the hot sauce. It's like, you can have it all. How many packets? How many packets you want?
We always have, like, every time, like, when I do the shoot, when I walk around, and Ken's like, Heather, come here. And so, like, we flip it around and it's both of us together and we're doing a live stream. We're like, get your butt to Cowtown. Get your butt to Cowtown now. Why are you not here?
Right.
It's like,
That's
and
funny.
he's just a hoot every time I see him.
He's good. He's good people. I love him. So they're all good people. William Russell's a hoot. He's a trip to work with. We get stuff done though. You know what I mean? We're just like he and I, because I'll work on the script and I'll send it to him, and he gets so excited about it. He'll be like, I just need to call you. And so instead of like him typing me what revisions he wants or ideas he has, he'll just he'll call me and I'm doing it while we talk. You know what I mean? So we finalized the script while we were on a StreamYard together, and I was sharing my screen. I was just like, and then this, and then this. And he's like, yeah, and then this. And I was like, oh no. And he was like, they're gonna freak out, Laurie. And I was like, that's my job. That's my job.
Exactly.
That's my job. That's what I do. So we have a blast together, but he's crazy. We know
He
it.
is batshit crazy. And I love him to death for it.
He's funny.
Well, it's been
It
a
is.
fun time, Lori.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's about that time, isn't it?
It's about that time. So let everybody know, where can they reach you at?
I am all over the interwebs. Please come check out the Kickstarter. The link is, I believe, in the show description, but we can
Yep.
always, I don't know if I have a wrench, but I can put it here.
I will put it in here. Don't worry. I got you.
Yep, and no wrench, but that's fine. So the Kickstarter is where all of the things are at right now. If we're not campaigning, you can always see our wares and our website, which is just www.pathofthepalerider.com. You can find us on Facebook. I'm pretty active on Facebook most of the time. I have a group that where most of the shenanigans happen. And then, of course, I'm on X. I'm at Path Pale Rider. On Instagram at Laurie Calcaterra. I'm on TikTok at Path of the Pale Rider with the stupid underscore between all the words, which I highly regret. Too long. It's too long. I'm on Threads. I'm on all over the place. You can find me on Tuesdays hosting the Tuesday Morning Brew on the Comic Related Madness Network. We're always looking for new shows. Nathan, you should come hang out with us. We like shows. And then on Wednesdays, I host the Any One World Showcase, where I interview the writers and creators from specifically Any One World and ASAP Imagination. So I do all sorts of crazy things. I smash pumpkins. I light things on fire and kill them on my show. They're not alive. It's fruit and vegetables.
Exactly.
But we have a blast. So we have a fun time. Come join the shenanigans. Go check things out. Watch some of the short films. See what you think. And hopefully you find a reward level that works for you.
And there is something for everybody. So, and especially, this is the one thing I want to bring up before we cut out here, is the pricing on these books is phenomenal, guys. Like, literally, the set for the trade paperback. There's most places that charge you $40 for a trade paperback on a Kickstarter today. Laurie's not charging you. Hell, by the time if you buy just the trade paperback and the shipping, you're still less than $40.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a phenomenal deal. So get on this, folks. Jump on it now. Especially pick up the small version, the really nice ones, because you know why? Once they're gone, then she threw my book.
It's not yours, so you're okay. Yours is downstairs gluing right now. It was those 3 were in a batch, and yours is beautiful. I'll make sure I post pictures of it tomorrow when it comes out of the press. Those 3 I'm very proud of. they came
Right.
out. Not that I'm not proud of these. Like, I love this. If someone claimed it because it's beautiful, but if nobody claimed it, I was going to keep this one for myself.
You gotta make one at least one for yourself.
Oh, I'm going to, but I'm going to make mine glow in the dark.
Ah, yeah. Silver and gold, black, black like
It'll have it'll look like the white skull, but it'll glow in the dark. I'm gonna probably make myself a full size one too. So
and that would be kind of cool, right? Like the full size, normal, or like a tome book, So
well,
those would be-
you can take the way I learned how to do these is I ripped the covers off the paperback Harry Potters.
Mhm.
So I can do that for this trade too. I can just rip the cover off and make my own.
Ooh, that's nice. I like that.
I plan on doing that.
Okay, I claim one. I'll have one on both sizes.
Oh, that's funny. Let me do a couple first just to make sure like I know my way, because I was like, as I do them, I get better at them.
Mhm.
So once I do my own, I'll be like, okay, now I can do these for other people. Because like Brandon Starocci is like, when are you going to do Avalon? And like Tim Fling was like, I'm really interested in what you're doing. And they look sharp. So creators are like, they're paying attention. You know what I mean? Like what you're
Yep.
doing is different and new, and I want it. And I'm like, okay, I got a guillotine off Amazon.
She.
I
and
told
that's
Carissa, I was like, my guillotine's here. She was like, excuse me, what? And I was like, you read that correctly. I'll be right back.
and you know what? That paper cutter, it'll cut fruit too. So hey, you never know what you can bring to your show.
It's not doesn't have an opening that you can put food in.
Oh,
It's
come
it's just
on.
meant for paper, but it'll cut up to 400 pieces of paper in one thing. So I was
We can-
excited for that. So I can
we-
do bigger binds.
I'm just trying to think that 400 is about this big.
Yeah,
That's
it's probably
still
like
the
a ream of paper, maybe two.
You can fit a banana in there.
You want me to cut a banana in there? No, I want to do books. I don't want it all be a messy and nasty banana. Ugh. Paper.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being out tonight. Appreciate everybody that watched with us tonight. It's always a great time when we have Laurie and anybody from the charter team.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. We will see you on the next one. The next Kickstarter, we're gonna have Laurie back here again. So
I'll
just
be back
ready,
pretty
folks.
soon because issue number 5 is the guys are ready to go. Marco's doing other stuff. It's just drawing his own stuff, just keeping himself busy. And he's like, can I start the cover for Path? I'm like, not yet. He's like, okay, fine.
Gotta wait.
I'm like, we're almost there. He's like, okay.
He'll
That
get there.
too. When are we starting? Soon, guys.
It is. Well, thank you guys and have a good night. And I will see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.